What's up, everyone? Welcome to TechN00bians, part of the Geekish Network. This is your weekly deep dive into video games covered by Blackness. I'm Charles, your illustrious host, and with me we have Shanae,
Hey, y'all.
Cherie,
Hey, everyone.
Travis. Travis, you're muted.
He's muted. Let's get this started right.
What's happening?
Okay. And we have Brian.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
For those that don't know, TechN00bians is your weekly video game live stream podcast hosted by Black technology industry professionals to discuss the what, when, where, and how you can get into the world of technology, specifically video games. We are here to inspire, sustain, and nurture successful creative technologists in their pursuits of excellence and their commitment to technology and content development. So you're going to hear it all here. You're going to hear everything and its mama here. Since this is the first time you get to meet our illustrious hosts, our great peoples, we're going to go around the room, let them do a introduction. And as I normally start, I'm going to start with Shanae.
Oh, okay.
I always start with you.
Oh, no, thank you. I appreciate it, Charles. It's always nice to occasionally get my due. All right, so folks,
because you're the second born.
I figured
I didn't know her and Cherie look alike. She's the second born of those two.
I figured
all black people don't look alike, though. All black
That's messed up, y'all. That's messed up.
Travis and Ryan. Travis was the firstborn.
First of all,
First of his name,
Adam and Eve. All right, let me do my intro routine before we start acting up.
Okay.
My name is Shanae Bryant. I'm a video game producer. I've been in the industry for almost 20 years. I've worked at a bunch of different places. I worked at, let's do the rundown, EA Sports, Midway, Capcom, Xbox, Crystal Dynamics, a whole bunch of places. I just started at Oculus. So good to meet everybody. I'm looking forward to having a good conversation. Oh, also, let's see, I do Black in Gaming, Women in Games. You can catch us on Clubhouse. We'll talk more about all that good too. Nice to meet y'all. Someone else can talk now.
all right. Should I?
Oh, eat popcorn. Go for it, Ree.
Yeah, I'll do a quick introduction. Hey, everybody. My name is Cherie Bryant. I am Shanae Bryant's twin sister, or more aptly, she is my twin sister because I was first. So I'm director of program management over at a local tech firm over here in the Bay Area, but I was in games for about 12 years before that, working over at Electronic Arts on such fun and illustrious projects as Dante's Inferno, Dead Space 2, The Sims, all that good stuff. Currently, as I said, director of program management, also the DEI co-chair, and I'm an artist and illustrator. Great to meet everybody.
And we'll go with Ryan.
Hey, what's up, y'all? So my name is Ryan Benjamin. I am. I've been in games for since 1999. I think it was 2000 when I first started.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
It's competition, but still.
Yeah. So
You're winning.
ever since I've been in the games, I've been part of the concept team. Basically, we either start developing a game, and then at some point we hand it over to another party to take off and finish the game, and then we go back to the concept stages. Before I did that, I came in. I was still as a concept artist, but I was a mixture of a couple different things, from building animation for games like Sonic the Hedgehog. I worked on. I've done stuff for like NFL Street, Razor Racing, a couple other like little cheesy games, and then eventually I went to work at Sony with Travis and a couple other guys, and I was still like on a concept team, and we ended up, just basically just doing that. Like, and now I'm on MLB, so I'm working on that team, just developing a bunch of pretty much wherever they need me, that's where they shift me, because I'm a jack of all trades. I can animate, I can concept, I can build models. I can rig. I can pretty much do everything except programming. Programming is not my thing. But other than that, that's what I do. And on the side, I guess you can call it on the side. I guess if you guys can see behind me, it says Comic Pro Bootcamp. I'm a comic book artist. I've also been working in the comic industry for both Marvel and DC Comics, for, even longer than I've been in video games.
Wow.
I've been doing that since '94. And so if you've seen Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Catwoman, X-Men, Black Panther, Wolverine, I've probably touched it. I probably worked on one of those IPs or anything like that. So you name it, I've done it, from Spider-Man animations to just rinky-dink comics for webtoons, even that. So I guess that's it. I don't want to give you guys too much, but I'm gonna let Travis take over, or whoever else is next.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Just say, I did not know you worked on NFL Street.
Oh yeah.
My sister and I worked on NFL Street like what, 19 years ago?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah.
Testers.
Yeah.
That's about the time I was born.
Yeah.
Travis had already worked for 500 years at that point.
I know it.
Grades are from staying up late.
So I love hearing other people's like intros and stuff, because I get to like know things about people that I didn't know about them, and also what folks can learn right here. It's a real small industry. Our paths apparently crossed paths, and we didn't even know it.
I had no idea.
Travis.
Hi. Well, it's funny you should say, Ashley, Sinead, that people's paths cross and they don't know it, because I actually met Ryan a few times in Miami because we always used to go to the same comic book store.
Yep.
And we didn't reconnect actually until I started working at Sony, right? And we were like, weren't you, and so it was a good, I don't know, at least a good 15 years maybe, or something like that. So hi, my name is Travis Williams. I am a game designer producer. And I have been in the industry for a long time.
Don't even use numbers anymore.
I started as a tabletop RPG designer at a company called White Wolf Game Studio, where we created the World of Darkness. So if you're into pen and paper RPGs and you've played Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Ascension, those are games that I helped create. Also did the 3rd edition of Ars Magica. So geek and nerd is in my blood. In '93, I stopped doing tabletop RPGs and switched into doing video games, full time. And in that time, I've done practically every type of game you can possibly do in this industry, from real-time strategy to fight games to massively multiplayer online games to RPGs, the whole nine. I actually, when I start to name some of the games that I did, I start to feel extra old. So why don't we just let that happen organically? I can tell you that some of those games, some of those games are the Street Fighter, the first Grand Theft Auto, Sanitarium, Matrix Online, and I was just recently working on all of the new games that you're going to see when the new Avatar films come out. So I've been at this a while, and I'm not tired yet. So
yeah.
You're not tired yet. After 2020?
what's
tired, man.
Well, I'm fatigued. How's that? Look, and a common thread I think throughout everyone here, with the exception actually of Cherie to some degree, is that I've worked with every one of you guys. So and this is actually, I remember someone telling me about the Dave Matthews Band and how like Dave Matthews used to like sit in a bar and then all these acts used to come on stage and stuff like that, and he used to cherry pick like, that guy's good. That guy's good, until he would assemble, just, the best band. And that's how Dave Matthews Band was born. And I always thought that was a cool concept. And so in my 30 years of being in this industry, you're looking at some of the most impressive people that I've worked with. And so that's why we're here.
Yep. And for you all that didn't know, I've been in the gaming industry 15 years. I went to grad school at the Florida Interactive Entertainment Academy at University of Central Florida.
Is this
And
the
I
Florida
started,
TechN00bians? Is that what we need to talk about? Oh, we all have the Florida connection for real.
we ain't all have a Florida connection.
I was born in Miami.
This is maybe a thing. So I was also in Florida. I started off working at a girl studio called Gorilla System Corp. And I worked on the Hannah Montana game, a band jam, and the Click, the video game, and All Star Cheer Squad for the Nintendo Wii. And then I got hired by Neversoft to work on Guitar Hero, and I worked on Guitar Hero World Tour, and I worked on Band Hero and parts of DJ Hero for their store. And then I got hired by Sony at the Visual Art Service Group, where I met Travis, and he was one of the first Black people to actually talk to me in the gaming industry.
Because he's extra old.
Because he's extra old. He came in our booth. He came in and was like we were brothers from another mother. Like I knew him all my life.
It all went downhill from there.
Man. And
I think if you meet someone in the business that's like yourself, and they're doing cool things, and you meet them and they're cool, like why not? I mean, there aren't that many of us, right? And so I think it behooves us to actually, act as
exactly 25.
Act as if.
Yeah. Are we saying Florida is the epicenter of Black game devs?
It might be.
Is that what it's saying? Oh my god!
Which is crazy because there's like 2 video game companies out there. There's like
2 video game companies,
and like there's a company that's now EA Sports.
Yeah.
But honestly, and that's something that Chuck, you and I talked about a lot is that people don't see us as much as they should. Right. Mm. This is also a response to that, right? It's, unless you see it, you don't know it's possible.
That's
and hopefully, by doing this, by being a little bit more visible, we can increase our numbers because I think that representation definitely matters.
Yep. Yeah. And soon you won't be able to get rid of us.
That's one thing that
I've been here 30 years. You ain't getting rid of me.
Yeah, he's like, I got nothing else. I got no other skills but game dev.
No, I mean basically.
Thank God game development is still around. Thank God games are still here.
Yes.
I like having these little plushies in the background. This is my work. This is my office now. It was my game room, became my office after the pandemic. I let those little plushies smile at every single person I have a VidCon with.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I have to get a real job.
That's lovely. Let's start off while we started TechN00bians. This is a good start, actually. The game industry itself is 2% Black. 2%. And it was 3% about a decade ago. So we're losing number, or it's growing and our population is not growing.
Yeah.
And with Latinx, we're under 5%. With Latinos, we're under 5%. And we know this is an issue, considering Black people in particular play games 30% more than anybody else in longevity of playing games. And that could be Fortnite, any fighting game and sports games, but we play a lot of video games. And the problem we have is the pipeline from school to the game industry is not there like it is like school to prison. And I remember talking with Travis and Leon at Comic-Con, and we talked about this. And then one of them, I think it was Travis, came with the word TechN00bians, and I thought that was the most beautiful word I've ever heard. And then he spelled it for me, and I was like, my mind's blown. My mind is blown right now. I went, and the fact that we have right now on this one podcast over 100 years of video game experience, that's amazing. And we all, like, I was in manga and comic books before I got into video games, and prior to that I was in music. So I hopped around industries, and you go to the music industry, it's like 80% Black as participants and workers, but not ownership. And in the gaming industry, we're 2 to 3%, but we know we're trying to get 5 and 5. That's the mission of Black in gaming, 5 and 5. I've always pushed when I started working Black in gaming. Before then, I was trying to get 13. I wanted to get us full 13 because that way we can fight with the industry if they don't give us our 13. And 13 is a beautiful number. It's a really, really beautiful number.
Still should be an aspirational number.
Yes, we're 13%. But it's not just us not getting the gaming. We have Latinos, we have Filipinos, we have a lot of American Asian Americans not into gaming them as well,
Mhm.
and they suffer through the same things we go through.
Yep.
And I think Tech Nubians, Nubians is black people. It means black people, of course, or noobs or new neophytes. This is a good way to get people of color into the gaming industry. I
Absolutely.
think, and I think all of us have a perchance to want to teach and explain things,
Mm.
and that's what makes this group really unique. Did I miss anything, Travis?
Well, no, I mean, as an interesting side note, I'm actually going to teach in the fall, which is scary.
Yeah, congratulations.
For a lot of reasons. But I see Ryan teaches, but he does it in this master Sifu sort of way that you actually have to witness it to believe it. It's actually pretty scary, but effective. But yeah, I mean, you summed it up. Chuck. I mean, look, because I've been in the industry so long, I have had the displeasure basically of being that only black person in the room or in the company for a long time. Or when you go to GDC,
That's a game developer conference for those that don't know.
Yeah, like you just don't see it, right? And so despite our numbers, I mean, I have seen them increase in my career, and so I'm hopeful. And it wasn't until like a few years ago actually where at the Game Developers Conference I ran into not one, not two, but three black female game designers, and I was like, black women game designers, like you're about as close to a unicorn as I can get, right? And so it was amazing to see. It was amazing to see, and I think a lot of it has to do with education, right? Because they are coming out of the university system, and it just made me feel good.
Yes, like I have a 17-year-old that's under my wing, and she's my niece. And she just wants to design video games. She was just like my brother. At 13, she came to him. He's like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And she's like, "I don't know." She always says, "I don't know." She doesn't need anything. She doesn't care for anything, even though her dad's money bags. And she came to him and was like, "Dad, I want a computer." And he immediately called me up and said, "Guess what your niece asked for?" I was like, "What?" He said, "She asked for a computer." I said, "Why does she want a computer?" He said, "Because she wants to program."
Ooh.
She said she wants to program. I said, "She's just like you." He's like, "Yeah, I hope, but she's smarter than me." I said, "What does she want to do? What does she want to program?" He said, "I don't know. She hasn't told me." So I called her up. She just got her cell phone. She was 13. She said, "Hey, Uncle Chuck." I said, "I heard you want a computer for Christmas. Why do you want a computer?" She's like, "I want to program video games. I want to make video games."
Mm.
So I went to her house that Christmas and loaded her computer of every game engine, every art application, everything,
Awesome.
to the point where it barely ran.
You can come to my house and do that too.
Yeah, I downloaded like 1 million games for Steam. I bought like everything she could ever want.
Nice.
So just so you know, basically Chuck is offering his services to basically come to your house and
I heard
download everything. Yeah.
And 2 years ago, she came to my brother and was like, "Dad, I want to build a computer," and she built her rig.
That's
She
cool.
built her rig,
Nice.
and that made me excited because she told her dad last month after she got a scholarship to Mississippi State, "Dad, I don't want to go to college." And he was really upset about that. And I was like, "You didn't go to college. Why are you forcing her to go to college?
That's why he wants her to go, because he didn't.
Take a gap year." But he's a robotic engineer.
Yeah, yeah.
University gave him a degree, and he's a robot engineer. And I said, "Sydney, why don't you go to college?" She's like, "Uncle Chuck, I'm gonna make a video game instead of go to college at least 1 year. If I go to college, I'm gonna be able to make video games."
Yeah.
And that hit my soul so hard.
See, that's something that's actually a good topic we should talk about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I got my origin. I started programming on a Commodore 64. back in the day when I was 10.
Did you put it together? Oh, you're 10.
No, it was already together, actually. I mean, the Commodore 64 is big old black. It's
He invented it.
Right. He's like, I remember time before
Like a
computers.
You wanted it to come naturally, Travis. You wanted the old jokes to come naturally.
Were you at least the first one to do it? Because, you know, Travis, I know half your stories are like, I was the first one to ever do this. So were you at least the
Yes.
first? If you weren't the first, I don't even want to hear
not.
your story, man.
I was not, so I guess we shall go on.
No, I want to hear your origin story. I also want to talk about as one of the two women on this podcast. We're talking about Black women in the industry. I also want to talk about that a little.
Mhm.
Please go ahead.
No. I mean, like what you guys were all saying was all like absolutely pertinent and super important, right? Like I always
Yes.
wanted to be in game industry since I was a kid. Like I've been playing games since I was 4 or 5, something like me and my sister and my dad playing games, and
We were like the three of us would fight over them.
Who won?
Oh, dad always won.
Well, usually our dad, but we would like.
He was just
race to get
fighting
our
children?
homework done. You know, it's like my dad's probably playing a game right now. Like he's 100%ed Breath of the Wild multiple times. I might add.
Wow.
Like my dad is like he plays the heart and soul out of everything he puts in the console. But no, I mean going back to that conversation, right? You guys are absolutely right. We like people don't see it as a career path because they don't see people who look like them in this career.
Yep.
And this is part of the reason why I think it's super important that we're doing stuff like TechN00bians, that we're doing stuff like Black in Gaming, that we're doing stuff like what we're doing over on Clubhouse, is that we're giving some visibility to it to say like, hey, look, we're here. You can make this a career. You can get paid. You can like actually turn video games from being just a hobbyist or an enthusiast, if you want, into a profession.
Yes.
And you can do all right with it. And then you can sit there on VidCons with like crazy little nonsense and stuff in the background or on your shoulder, right? But like, but I went to GDC for years and years, and I remember back when there was a GDC. You guys remember the before times when we had in-person events. It feels like it was so long ago now. But I remember like the very first GDC I went to, I started doing this little game where I would just count up the number of Black women I saw while just walking around San Francisco. I'm like, let me just see, am I the only one here? And the first year I counted like 12 or something, like some ridiculously low number. And I'm talking about like 12 Black women out of like 20,000 attendees. And the next year it was like 22. And the year after that, it's like the number just kept inching up, but it was giving me like some hope, because I'm like, oh, the number is always going up higher. It was still always like double digits and when you compared it to like the number of attendees for GDC, it was pretty paltry, but it was still progress, right? It was still at least like knowing that all this stuff that we're doing is like, we're not just pushing a rock up a hill. Like people are starting to see it. We're starting to get a little bit of representation there. And then there was one year I went to GDC. And I had to go to the restroom, just, as you do. And I walk in the restroom and there was a line, and there was a woman in front of me. I'm like, there's a line? She's like, yeah, there's a line. And we both just smiled. We're like, there's a line at the restroom, which is like super inconvenient, but it had never
we
happened
arrived. We got
like,
a line at the restroom.
Yeah, we're gonna be late for our next.
Yes. Yes.
And for comparison, that's always been like one of the minor perks of being like a woman in the game industry is you're like, oh, there's never a line at the restroom.
No. At Midway, we used to have our own stalls.
Yeah, we'd be like, there's 3 of us, there's 3 stalls. I take this one, you take that one, you take this one.
It was a gentlewoman's agreement.
It was.
Nice.
That was mine.
Nice.
That one's yours. I will not use yours. Don't use mine.
Nice. Since we're speaking of this, go ahead, Travis. You want to say something?
Well, to put a finer point on it, I think, in talking to each one of you, like individually, really, we always seem to get the same sort of questions asked to us. And then a few years ago, you, Chuck, myself, Ryan, and another TechN00bian who has yet to appear, who will be here on episode 2, we always answer the same questions. And we were thinking, like, wouldn't it be great if we could just, have some sort of touch base where we could, say, hey, here are all your questions answered. And then let's try to elevate the conversation a little more so that we don't have to answer the base questions anymore. Then we can start getting into a little bit more of the meat and potatoes of, why games do well, why games don't do well, and try to bring a little bit more insight into what we do, so that if this is something that you actually want to do as a career, you won't have to say, why didn't someone tell me this? Because here we are, and we're telling you this now.
Yes, yes. It's like when I go to high schools often, and they ask, what can I do in the gaming industry? And I just run down the list, because there's so many different positions that you can participate in the gaming industry. You can be an artist, and there's 10 different types of artists. Ryan told you he's all of them in one person. But and then there you can be a producer, and that's a project manager. You're the soft skills person, and as a producer, you're a counselor, and you're the schedule keeper, and you're the internal role model for everybody.
Don't deny the hard skills on the producer side too, by the way.
Yeah, there are some hard skills. Math is the hard skill. Math is the hard.
How many times I have to tell people, I'm like, listen, guys, you want to make a game this big? We got this much time and this much money. Let me do the math for you.
The math. Yep. The producer makes sure a game ships. The reason you have a game is because producer pushed the design team and make sure that everything the design team wanted got pushed through some pipeline to get into their hands, and make sure they used it. Speaking of design, we have the design team. So we have art, production, design, and the hold it all together, the glue is engineering. You have to have strong programming team to bring it all together. And those are the 4 parts of a game. But there's other parts like marketing and publishing that we don't really touch on in this podcast.
Please don't forget about audio.
Because audio. Oh yes, audio. Audio. Yes.
QA in there as well. Yeah.
QA. And QA is the guide.
Sorry. You go ahead, Chuck.
I was gonna say QA is definitely the guide. If QA doesn't like your game when you're about to ship your game is not good. Because they look at your game and they're like, I hate this game. This game sucks. If somebody says that in your QA department, you're probably doing something wrong.
Sheree, you're QA. You want to drop some nuggets here for us?
Yeah.
So I will mention, I did QA for 12 years. I will mention, after playing any game for 8 to 12 hours every day, you will hate any game.
That's true.
I first started in QA, I was a huge gamer, right? That's why I got into it. I don't think I played any games for 2 years after I started working on games in the industry, because it changed the way you play games. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I can't I was before I started working in the industry, I don't think I ran into nearly as many bugs, or maybe I just didn't recognize them as bugs or whatever. But after I was in the industry, I'm playing something and a cutscene comes up and I don't want to see this cutscene. How can I skip this? Let me start button mashing. Let me start trying to eject the disc, and because I know that the game has to handle it. I just want to find workarounds to break the game and get around it. But I started running into so many things. It changed the way you enjoy games.
Okay, well. Speaking of that, since we're on the topic, I just saw a huge red flag that just popped up. We're talking about building a game and then playing a game, right? So right now in the current industry, not just the industry, but the world right now, we have the systems that people use, the platforms that's available to many people. Right now, there's a ton of people on Twitch and other platforms who are streaming their gaming, and they're making money off of that. Yeah. Versus putting all that aside and going onto the production side of things and saying, okay, I'd rather build a game and get paid that way. So those are two different venues that people can choose from to say, okay, how can I profit from making games? From am I going to play it and earn and hopefully earn some money? I can get enough viewers and fans and everything, and Twitch will send me a paycheck, or am I going to put some rub 2 brain cells together, come up with a cool concept or a resume and show it to a studio, get on their team, and then suddenly I'm working with these guys who I have a consistent check that's coming in versus hope I get a check type of feel. So, but there are people out there who prefer to just go online and play games. You know, and at least you're having fun. They have a roof over their head. They can get food when they want to, and it's okay. I'd rather just play games. And then there are people outside who have more. There's more security in there with a hard game where you're actually physical. You're on a team and you're building something. And 2 years down the road, you actually see the final product, and now you have something to put on your resume that say, "Yes, I did this."
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
That's what I see, you know?
Yeah, we were having a really good conversation on Twitter earlier too, because someone was talking about, we're talking about all the different roles in games. Like we just named off a few of different, like those sort of more popular roles, but there's like things like design, things like QA, like those are disciplines that have a lot of people in them because they're very visible. There's also a lot of disciplines that people don't know about within games. Like for example, tech artist. Oh my God, please Google tech artists and do that because the industry needs tech artists, needs tech animators, needs a lot of the folks who are the connective tissue between different disciplines.
Yeah.
Like we were just saying a second ago, games are made by teams. Very seldom, when we're talking about these really big, like your AAA and your quad A level games, that ain't made by like 1 or 2 people. That ain't made by 10 or 20 people. Not even made by 50. We're talking about hundreds of people.
400 people.
Sometimes up to 400, 500 people.
Sometimes thousands of people. We're talking about.
Including outsourcing houses.
Yeah, all the outsourcing.
Right?
When I was on Sims 4, 600 people on that team.
Yeah, and it's like, and sure, you got art, like you can say the artist thing, but there's so many specializations that are within that too.
Yep.
So if you guys have like aspirations to move into like design, know that there's like a dozen different type of design disciplines that you can do.
Art, same way.
Art, a dozen different disciplines.
Engineering, same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even in production, the same way. There's different types of producers.
Yes.
I had an art director that worked with me at Interplay.
Why are you smiling already, Travis?
Because it's a cool story actually. But he's now the studio head over at Probably Monsters in Seattle. But he was one of the best technical artists I ever worked with. And to give you an idea of like what a good tech artist would do is
what is a tech artist? Explain tech artist because our audience doesn't know what a tech artist is.
So if you're actually, if you're just generating assets, whatever those are, I mean, you could be concepting, that's art, right? You could be 3D modeling, that's it. But understand that a lot of times making a game is so much like Apollo 13. It's not even funny, right? And I remember the part where they said, we need to make this fit into this using this, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, these things are completely disassociated with one another. Like, what are you talking about, right? And so I remember actually going to Dave and saying, look, you have 100 polys to make this fire. Right. And he's like 100, huh? And then he took it as a challenge. And then just to flex on me, he said, do you want burning embers of smoke or not? It was like, hell yeah, I want that. Right. And he said, all right. And then the next day he made it happen. So, sometimes it's not just you making something beautiful. You have to make something beautiful within the confines of the engine that you're using, the platforms that you're using.
What's an engine and platform?
Well, an engine being something very much like Unreal or Unity or Crytek or anything that you would make your game on, for example. So those are. Those are sort of the industry sort of standard engines that you use, but a tech artist knows that, it's not just art that I'm doing. It's actually art and engineering, at the same time, and understanding that we're not. Yes, in the end of the day, you're trying to simulate life, but only as much as you need to in order to get that desired effect, right? And so that's really important. And so having someone who is technical, like Ryan, and for example, is great because he'll be able to do that. I'll be like, look, man, I need to build Miles Morales, right? And he'll be like, dope, and I'll be like, yeah, but I only have 1,000 polys to do it. And he'd be like, oh, murder, right? All right, so let's get it done.
Polys are polygons, people.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. So a lot of times people just think that, you get into this gaming industry and, you just get to draw pretty pictures and that's it. And no, you're actually confined by, a lot of different things.
Technology.
And the best of us actually know how to work within those confines. And the great thing is every time new systems come out, those get relaxed a little more and a little more and a little more.
Yeah.
But you have a whole new set of rules you have to figure out.
One thing that
Yes.
I realized, the tech artist field is filled with BIPOC people, Black, Indigenous people of color. Like, it's interesting how many people of color know how to do the art, work in polygons or sprites, and know how to do some of the engineering to work in the confines that Travis is talking about. And when you walk into, like, you'll see a concept team. There'll be a couple of white guys, some people of color, and then you'll go into the sculpting team. There'll be a lot of white guys and a few people of color, and then it goes in the tech art team, and it's like all people of color and like one white guy. Then animations, like, we're all a majority Asians, some people of color, and some Latinx people, then some white guys, and you're like, wow, this is consistent across every studio that I've ever been in.
Are you drawing like some parallels here? Like, like it seems like
you walk in the tech art room, it'd be like it'd be Black men, Black women, Latin women, Latin men, a couple of Asians, and it'd be like that one white guy or two white guys in the room.
That's an interesting phenomenon.
It is.
And the only reason I say that is because, I mean, the through line is, I mean, you take a look at soul food, for example, it comes from scraps, and it seems like every time we have to be creative, it always has to be mixed with struggle. I'm not exactly sure why that's like the case. Is that the flavor that,
Is it a problem that when you said take a look at soul food, I was like, the movie? You about to start breaking out with some boys and men? Like, what's
shoot,
like,
all that?
Yes.
I don't know. My head is just in. I mean, like, Coming to America 2 just came out last night, so my head is just in that era.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. We won't talk about that for this podcast. We'll be on it all day.
I haven't seen it yet, so.
Okay. But I'm gonna move it on. Because I'm pretty sure people we explained the industry a little bit. We have a long time to explain what the industry is. And for those that are tuning in, we will spend time on each discipline to help you out, to help you get direction. And we'll answer your questions in the chat about any discipline if you're interested in joining the video game development community. I like to say behind the screen and in front of the screen. So your streamers and whatnot, and content developers and journalists, they're in front of the screen, and all your development is behind the screen. People don't realize when we start video game development, we literally start with a blank screen. Like, there's nothing, there's no planet, there's no skyboxes. It's a blank screen. Fortunately, we have game engines, which are base programs to actually get your game up and started and building your game. They have a lot of the things we already need. So somebody said one day, hey, let me make a game engine and share this with people and allow them to share these assets. Because literally at one point, Travis knows, because he was there before the wheel, when you made the video game, you had to rebuild the wheel every time. But since Travis lived before there was the invention of the wheel.
How did I get here?
Yes,
I mean, that's very true.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, that's just
it. That's how you got in.
Yeah. Yeah. He killed that woolly mammoth.
It was a struggle. But yeah, that's very true. I mean, you really did. You had to spend a lot of time actually building your game environment before you actually started building your game. And it wasn't until actually the mid 90s when Microsoft said, hey, maybe we should hold all of the people who build software and hardware to a standard so that people can make some assumptions before they go forward, so that they don't have to keep accounting for this. And that's where DirectX came from.
Yes.
So I was making games, before DirectX came around, and DirectX solved a lot of issues on the Windows side of things. So that you can iterate a lot, faster. And then, some of my team members actually helped with the first Unreal.
Of course.
Yeah. Yes.
First.
Yes.
When it was
Whatever.
real.
Whatever.
When
No
it
more.
was just real. When it was real.
This old thing is going to be recurring. This whole thing's going to be recurring. Yes. Anyways, my point is that everyone knows that you have to have some sort of engine actually to build your game, and it's getting to the point now where people care less about that engine, and more about what exactly are you doing that is special and unique and bold within that engine. And that's a great thing, because like, just imagine, honestly, if you had to, every time you wanted to buy a car, they had to build it from scratch. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? And you would never get the automobiles that you're getting now. And so that's why, the games you're seeing today are capable of, this massive amount of complexity now, because some of these base level things have already been taken care of. And so you can spend your time actually getting into the nuances of what makes your game unique.
Yeah. And let people in the audience know the two core game engines, Unity 3D and Unreal, they're free. You all can download them right now, and actually start playing with them.
Making money on them, like there's asterisks and contracts and stuff, but there's nothing stopping you from like jumping on that.
Jumping on it.
Yep.
Yeah. And
really,
you go to YouTube. YouTube's a great teacher. There's a lot of tutorials.
University.
Yeah, YouTube University. That's what I call it. YouTube University. Something else. We're going to move forward and actually get into games now. I'm pretty sure people are yawning about the developer talk. So we're going to move from development talk right now. We're going to go to PlayStation's State of Play. They had it last week. Yeah. As people of color, we definitely love the PlayStation box.
Except for the PlayStation 5, which, in case anyone hasn't followed my Twitter, is a myth.
Does it exist?
Mass hallucination. It never happened.
Let's start with that before we go into State of Play.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how hard it is to get these consoles.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay.
How many
I don't have one, so it must be a myth.
Well, Travis, of course, Travis has one.
I have one too.
Yeah, I got it when it was the PlayStation 1, and I just
it grew up. It grew up into the PlayStation 5.
You just taped 5.
I kicked it out of the house, and then it came back as the PS5. You see,
and had an attitude.
Yeah,
like, I'm not going in everybody's house. It's gonna be hard to find me. I'm disappearing.
We just had a few times where you hear that they're in stock. You go in there, you put it in your cart, and then like it is a struggle trying to get past the checkout, and then eventually it just disappears from your cart and it's gone.
Yes,
I'm mostly trying to get it for my sister because I know she's been wanting one for a while. I'm like, we can't get two of them. We may as well forget about that. But maybe we can get one between the two of us.
It's the first console in like probably a decade that I haven't gotten at launch. That and the Xbox Series X, and for the same reason. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I would like to get be quiet, Travis. I would like to get a PS5. I would like to get one. I don't need one. Let's be honest. I've got like 15 million different games in backlog for everything else. But I realized like this, even during a pandemic when none of us have nothing else to do, I realized like I'm not willing to struggle.
But it's because the pandemic we don't have it.
I know, but
it's like it's a double-edged sword. It's like, okay, if I could go into the store and pick it up, the scalpers wouldn't have a chance.
Yeah, we would have gotten it.
We wouldn't have had a chance. But since they know that only we can get is online, they're like, F it. I already spent $1 million on getting them. I'm just going to stock them all in till eventually people just buy them from me.
You guys want to hear a sad PlayStation 5 story?
Yes, go for it.
They're all sad, I think.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I work for Sony PlayStation. So they offer all employees PlayStation.
They sure did.
And what you have to do is basically reply to an email and then wait your turn and click on a link, and then you can pay the money, and then suddenly there's a small window for this, meaning like 2 hours. You got to get this done within like 2 hours. I missed my deadline on that one. Why? Because we're in crunch mode, and my brain is just on, I got to submit, I got to turn in this work, I got to get this done. So I'm like cranking away. 3 days later, I'm like, oh, that's right. Was I supposed to get my PlayStation 5? What's going on? And I double checked my email and I realized, oh, that's right. I missed my window.
Oh
It's
man,
like,
I would be sending an email right now.
You need to be
being like,
sending an
"Hi,
email to
friend."
somebody to
I
get your
know.
PlayStation.
Trust me, I clicked on that link like 17 times, hoping it would let me in, let me in. It just like nope.
Oh,
No, you need to go up to higher up. You need to go one pay grade up to make that happen. I said one pay grade up because that's like ownership of PlayStation.
Out of my fingers.
Because you're already up there.
Click on the link now. It just redirects you to eBay.
But from the state of play, Shanae, honestly, from the state of play, I would say you can hold out on getting a PlayStation 5 until those games come out.
Yeah.
Because right now what you have is Astro and you have Miles Morales and you can play Cyberpunk if you want to.
Oh yeah.
It runs
Or
fine.
can you? I guess you can on PlayStation 5.
PlayStation 5.
Yeah, you can run it on PlayStation 5. It doesn't run on PlayStation 4, but it runs smooth on PlayStation 5.
You know,
I haven't finished the first Spider-Man yet.
And
Do I need to finish it in order to play Miles?
no,
Okay,
you
good.
don't need to finish it.
Okay, can I make an admission real quick too here? And part of this is my own fault because I was probably not paying the most attention or anything like that when, like during like all the press leading up to the original announce for that first Spider-Man, not for Miles Morales, right? But I remember like seeing that first, like I think it was the announced trailer, probably E3 or something like that. And like I'm watching the trailer and seeing Spider-Man, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then at the end of it, you see like, I look up and you see Miles because they had that little like cooldown at the end. I'm like, oh, that's rad. Miles Morales is in this. So I'm thinking for some reason in my head, oh, I'm going to be playing Miles Morales in this first game. So when I got Spider-Man, when I got the game, PS4, I'm like booted up. I'm like, yeah, I'm swinging around Spider-Man. He gets to his remote. Who's this white dude? And I realized I'm like, oh, I'm Peter Parker in this one. And then all the energy just sort of drained out of my.
Wow.
And you actually do get to play Miles Morales.
I know you do, but I wanted
just not as Spider-Man.
I know. I did get to that part, but it was not what I was expecting. My expectation was like it was a total misunderstanding on my part. I am not blaming anyone else for it.
I actually played like I guess 60 to 70% of Spider-Man, and then then I actually started playing Ghost of Tsushima, which just took over, right?
Yeah.
That's another reason to have a PlayStation 5, but you can play it on PlayStation 4 too.
Yeah, and then after Ghost of I finished it. I went back, but not until I got my PS5, played through Miles Morales, and then I was like, yeah, I might as well finish Spider-Man.
You don't have any more games right now. Why don't you just lend me your PS5?
Man, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
But
nah. But look, when as far as state of play is concerned, though, like it's interesting, this iteration so far, right? Because what you're seeing is you're graphically, I mean, yeah, you see a jump, but I think it's a jump that most people will miss, or aficionados really appreciate. Especially ray tracing and so on and so forth. Most of your mass market, I don't. They'll just say, oh, it just looks better, right?
Well, the mass market doesn't have a 4K TV yet,
right? And so. So it's interesting because I think one of the interesting or most progressive things about the new iterations are the SSD and how fast you can actually access things, because those have this waterfall effect on game design that people don't even realize, right? Like and we can talk about that some other time, but I guess that's what I'm seeing is the zero weight part in gaming now that I think has a significant effect on, your end user satisfaction. I mean, like if you like, I want to go to this area and then you got to wait like 30 seconds. I mean, it's a long time. People just don't realize, like in this new world, like it's a long time. Like back in the day when there wasn't a microwave, for example, you wanted to heat something up, you'd be like, all right, you better chill out for 15, 20 minutes, right? And now we're like, I don't have all second.
For Travis, he would get 2 sticks and start rubbing them together.
Travis, remember those days? I remember rubbing 2 sticks together to get a fire.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so now people just don't.
I was gonna say it's all. I know we're teasing Travis, but it's all love.
Yeah,
like I've known Travis for like a good. We've all known Travis for like way too long, way too many percentages of our lives. Actual percentages
years.
of our lives.
He remembers those years, those early years.
Yeah, but I mean, so that's that's the thing. And lastly, like honestly, like I think that the PlayStation with their dual sense, the haptic feedback that you get from that is quite excellent. It like to like when someone actually really dials that in, I think that takes you to another level of immersion that you just don't get anywhere else. And so while I really like the new Xbox, I mean, I think they did a lot of things right. I had to go drop major money on the Elite controller. Just because I just couldn't take the shock of going from like that PlayStation controller to just what was in that normal Xbox. It just felt like too weak sauce for me. You know,
I feel like this console generation, and you guys, I would love to hear your thoughts about this too, because previous generations, like going from like the PS2 to PS3 and PS3 to PS4. I'm just speaking of in PlayStation. But I mean it for all the consoles. There was a lot of excitement like built up, like in those graphical leaps, those additional features. So like there was a lot of excitement for this one going from like PS4 to PS5. It feels like all the excitement I hear is mostly on the developer side. It's stuff like what you just said a second ago, Travis. Like no, seriously, like my engineers and folks are talking about, like my artists are like ray tracing. Oh my god, I can't wait for ray tracing and like short, like no elevators, like, and these are like they're really significant things.
No heavy doors.
Experience, right? But how do you like? It's so hard to like advertise shorter elevator trips. No elevators,
no heavy doors,
right? It is a huge plus to your experience, but it's hard to make that a back of the box. Sorry.
That's what I think this generation is, and the next generation after this is it's a love letter to developers. And everybody's worried, is this the last consoles we're going to see?
It's a love
because
I don't yet.
Cloud computing.
Where's my? Is it a love letter to me? Where's my PS5 then?
Well,
it got lost in. Well, your love letter got lost in the mail, homegirl.
Yeah.
Well, just what you guys were mentioning on like for State of Play, when I was watching like the Final Fantasy VII, like
the remix of the remake.
Yeah, the remix of the remake of the all that. And watching how they put it on State of Play, they show you like the trailer for the the next piece and everything like that. And that's great. And then they go to show you the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 version, and you can clearly see the difference. But like they start writing things like textures, and they show you the differences, like lighting, and they see the difference. And it's like you can see the difference, but like you said, the step up is not enough. I mean, at least for me to be like, let me invest $600 so I can have a couple more awesome look. I mean, it looks fabulous.
It looks good.
But how many times can I try and camp out on a website, or like try and drop my work so I can jump over here and try and like refresh or whatever so I can try and get it. It's not a big enough step up for me yet. But like you said, I mean, it really does feel like the love letter for developers. Can it be a love letter to gamers? I don't know.
I mean that trailer was a love letter to developers. Who knows what textures are? Nobody knows what textures are. No game player cares about lighting.
I want
a good game.
But
I mean, I care about
they do and they don't. They do and they don't, right? Like like a lot of times, like a gamer will tell you they're not satisfied and they don't know why, or that they or they play your first person game and they get nauseous and they don't know why, right? I mean, but we know why, right? And so those are love letters. And I think also when you take into when you take into account how much time people actually spend gaming, and then how much time they spend actually waiting for said game to actually load, Okay. The love letter is, here's your life back.
That was one of the things that said loading. Also,
It is a big deal. I mean, honestly, that's the
You're
reason.
welcome.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sherry. Go ahead, Sherry.
yeah, no, I was gonna say, I don't want to diminish it. I mean, it is a big step up technologically, but like, just I was looking at the the trailer, and it's Square. Final Fantasy VII looks lovely on PlayStation 4. It looks even more fabulous on PlayStation 5. Am I going to fight to try and get the PlayStation 5 version at the moment? Probably not, but. I mean, I can appreciate the work that they're doing, and like there's little additional elements that just bring it, that next level up. So I do get what you're saying there, Travis, for sure. I mean, heck, I mean, I game now. I've got my, I've got my projector. I'm waiting to try and so I always only game on my projector screen and everything now. I just need to get my 4K.
I just want to bring everybody's attention to something that at this very moment Ryan Benjamin is drawing. Okay,
He is. He's been drawing the whole entire time.
The whole time.
Let me tell you something. I have never seen a man more dedicated to art in my entire life. I have actually witnessed him fall asleep at his house in the middle of drawing a picture, right? And when I woke him up, he immediately finished.
That's right. That's right.
That's dedication right there. That is black excellence right there.
He'll be on the stage.
That's black something.
At a con. And forget he's on the stage at a con and be drawing. Then when you ask him a question, he gives you the nastiest look like, are you interrupting me while I'm drawing? How dare you?
Because and let me tell you something also, you'll probably get a better pass punching him square off in the chest than to ruin his art. Like, I swear.
Like, how dare you interrupt me?
That's good. That's good.
Art is his language, and I'll go by every time I go by his booth. He'll be drawing something. I'm like, I hate your guts. That piece of paper was plain when I came by 15 minutes ago. Then you give me damn Batman. Who you making that for? He's like, I'm just doodling right now. I'm just drawing right now. I'm bored. Like, this is what you doing? You're bored? Draw perfect Batman.
That should be that should be a segment on future episodes. What the hell is Ryan drawing right now?
Actually, yeah.
My final reveal. I'll reveal it at the end of the show.
We'll do that. We'll do that because right now he has like 98 pages he has to do. Travis,
I know.
Mine's looking for something like I got 96 pages to do. And he said that like 3 months ago, and he'll talk to you this month. I still got 96 pages. He was like, dude, are you just stacking on more work?
But he's actually the only person that I've ever met who can actually plan out his finances by how many pictures he draws. Like, he'll look at something, he'll be like, yeah, well, I got to do 4 commissions to get that. I got to do this commissions to do that. And then he'll be like, yeah, I wish I could just draw money.
I know it. He thinks in art.
You have to.
Like how far is I have to take Max off to drop him off somewhere? Oh, that's 6 commissions I'm missing out on driving that far. His measurement is art.
I love it.
I live, eat, breathe. Art's in my blood.
Man, we're hitting an hour already, guys.
Oh my goodness!
I knew it was going to happen.
And we haven't dived into our agenda for today, but I felt that we needed to get over and talk about the game industry because this is the first one, and the people that are tuning in don't know much about the game industry. As we've experienced in Clubhouse, people that play a lot of games have no idea how games are made. And they even claim they do. Like, they'll be in the streams like, they should have done this. They should have improved the graphics this way. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I was just making a snarky comment. I said some people who make games have no idea how games are made, which is why you have producers.
That's right.
That part.
I've slept at the studio way too many times making Madden. It's a problem.
There's 4 producers on this call right now.
There are.
Which means like we will never want for work.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, but, one thing I did just want to ask, because at least from the state of play, because I'm just really curious about everyone else here. What game were you guys excited about on the state of play, if anything? Did anyone have a thing?
I had a couple of games I'm quite excited about, but I'll let you all go first.
I can tell you the one I was excited about was Solar Ash.
That was
It's by Heart Machine, the guys who did Hyperlight Drifter,
Yeah.
which was one of my favorite games, like little indie game, like all the retro graphics, that kind of stuff, but like just really really tight controls and action and just a nice broadening story that you didn't realize the story was going to there was going to be a story in this game, and I'm super excited to see Solar Ash. That's my one takeaway from
that looked great. Deathloop also I was a little interested in. I loved the trailer that they did for it, how they like did the song like it was like a Bond movie and did like all the aesthetics and everything for it.
Ubisoft is like the best in the business when it comes to like marketing, like marketing trailers and stuff. They are just on top of it.
Yeah, I was a sucker for that. I don't know if I'll play the game or anything like that, but I did love the the presentation and everything there.
Anybody else? Travis?
I'd say I was. I actually haven't downloaded it yet, but I'm going to, which is the new Crash Bandicoot. And I think it's just because it's been so long since I've actually played like a platformer like that, and they spent a lot of time telling us about how they improved it, especially for the load times on the PS5 and the haptic settings. So basically, nothing the Bryant twins would know about, because y'all ain't in the cool club.
Rude.
I mean, we're trying to get into the cool club.
Upgrade your console life. Do that.
Wow. Shots fired.
Shots fired. I was trying to be nice, man. But
no, it's almost time.
Wow, shot fired.
No, y'all know this thing's gonna end in the next few minutes, but me and Travis's rivalry is gonna go on forever.
All time. I just
Ryan?
one other last comment on like the presentation overall, because like comparing this, like the state of play and like how they Sony did this to like Nintendo Directs. I mean, Nintendo's been doing like just the Directs for forever. Nintendo just at one point decided we're not going to spend money to go out to these different conferences. We're just going to give you a video.
Press conferences are a nightmare.
Yeah. I do feel like they do need to kind of like up something there, because I just watched a bunch of game trailers and there were some that I was interested with, but the kind of overall I was a little underwhelmed with it. I don't know if maybe it's just a matter of like not just being game trailers, but also just telling me, like, just give me little updates or little other crazy things about other games that Mario's doing. But I was just that was just something that just stuck out.
That's what you wanted to see more of in the state of play, or would you want to see more of in the Direct?
In the state of play. Oh, okay. I think what Nintendo does with their Directs, I think they've kind of got like a formula on lock with how they integrate between like, and it's it's Nintendo, so they'll be silly with some of their stuff sometimes, but they'll go between like the different like producers and and like just have a little blurb in there, and they'll then I just feel like there's a lot more surprises, I guess, sometimes in the Nintendo Directs than like in the state of play. I just want to see Sony kind of up their game with that.
It's a different energy, I think.
It's a different energy.
Yeah. It's the energy that you're seeing because of where this console is, right? Because once again, the console's just launched because they just launched. Anything that was going to be dope right away, you saw right away, right? And then there's this period where everyone is like, everybody done shot their shot right now. Why don't we why don't we calm down? See what the competition looks like before the next shot happens. And so what you're seeing or what Sony is showing you is like, look, these games are very nice. They might not be the groundbreaking ones because that's usually probably next holiday season or something like that. But this is the good stuff that'll tide you over and make you feel good about your investment and so on and so forth. But I wasn't expecting any like, oh my gods for that state of play, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I think maybe it's just like the thing I'm just used to seeing Nintendo do this in this format and not used to seeing like, Sony do this in their format. The thing that I found hilarious watching the Nintendo Direct was like when they brought like Eiji Aonuma on there just to say, yeah, we don't have any Breath of Wild news.
Yes.
I love that. I was just like,
yes.
saw my face, I'm excited. No, I don't have anything for you. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'm off. But we got these Mario skins in Animal Crossing for you,
which I will download. By the way.
All of us are going to download it.
No, all of us won't.
What you guys can't see,
you're gonna be a Nintendo
by the way. I've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Zelda things on the wall. I have a Hylian sword replica, a Majora's Mask behind me, and a business card from Shigeru Miyamoto in a baseball card case over here.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yep.
Hey Ryan, did you watch the State of Play?
No, I haven't. I'm behind.
He's too busy actually in MLB, probably.
We are. Yeah. If once you guys
watch Solar Ash, watch the Crash stuff if you're interested in Crash, and
Deathloop
take you about 7 minutes.
Yeah, Deathloop was, I think, interesting with it. And then that's probably about it.
Yeah. I'm surprised I have time to get on the podcast. It's just we're literally in crunch mode. It's like
I'm glad you're here too.
Saturday, really Sunday. I'm putting in about 14 hours a day. Easily.
We'll talk about crunch on another podcast because people don't understand our blood, sweat, and tears that goes into these games for them to say, I don't like it because of this one thing that's 5 seconds in the game. That's only worth 5 seconds in the game. But we'll talk about that another time for sure.
Absolutely. I think this is a really widespread discussion that's going on in the industry right now about crunch and work-life balance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. For me, the thing that I liked the most from the thing was Sifu from the Zolver.
Right.
Because real-time physics and natural martial arts, I'd like to see them evolve their game. It's so interesting. We have 2 brothers. They're not brothers in like from same mother, but they're my classmates. Victor Lugo, he was the lead combat on Killer Instinct at one point, and Yinka Alade, who also worked on Madden. And Victor was the combat designer for EA's MMA game.
Oh, nice.
For the first time, they personally picked him because he pitched Sifu for our grad school project to do.
Wow.
And we realized that we couldn't do that game because it was too big. But a real-time physics martial arts game based on actual moves is what he pitched. And I'm glad to see Absolver come full circle with that.
Can I ask a question about the trailer for that one? Because I watched a couple times. There's one moment in the trailer that I just didn't quite get. All right, so like, he's in the middle, he's like kicking butt, whatever, and he gets knocked down, and then they sort of flash forward and suddenly he's got facial hair.
Yeah, is it Rip Van Winkle? Like,
I was like, did he get older? Did he take on the soul of someone else?
Apparently you age as you get better in your skills in this game.
Oh,
so you get better and you age.
That wasn't clear because he literally just got his butt, like his face punched in.
So when you're younger, you're weaker.
And then he now you've Goku'd up or something.
Yeah, you gotta improve your skills. Yeah, you gotta improve your skills.
Okay, I wanted to understand.
Yeah, so that's cool. The thing. We'll definitely talk more about this. We definitely talk about the difference between State of Play and Nintendo Direct next week, because I think those are worth discussing. And we discussed how these companies, these console companies, treat us and how they're different from one another. And how they approach their audiences differently. Like I have a tendency to say Nintendo hates us. They hate us so much, but we can't get enough of them, but they hate us so much.
Wait, hate us as in people who play games, or hate us as in black people?
Game players. Okay. Game players. That's game players. I'm trying to see
like how provocative a statement you were making right there. Like this is like another like
they hate all humans. They're like anybody that can use our console, we kind of hate you.
I have thoughts on it, but we have to save it for another time. I think
we'll save it for another time.
Yeah, you see how much Nintendo crap is in this room. But
yeah. I mean, I guess when you're the baddest one on the block and you had this one trick and you keep doing it and everybody keeps falling for it over and over and over and over again.
I am buying Skyward Sword again, so.
The worst part is people complain about it.
It's the weakest of the Zelda games.
People complain about it, and it won't sell like 5 million copies or 6 million. It'll sell 27 million copies. Like Call of Duty numbers for a game that has been released like 5 different times.
Different times. It's ridiculous. They're like, hey, and they sell it at $59.99. It's like, we'll never get this game. It should be like $15 right now.
But for real,
I will buy it.
But for real.
Yeah.
What is Ryan drawing? Let's see.
Yes.
Ryan, come on, man.
Ryan, can we see what you're drawing, Ryan?
Sean Prue, son.
I can't. Is this live, right?
This is live.
We see it.
We see it right now.
I wish I could share my screen right now.
Yeah, that's all right. We see it.
We're looking at something.
Okay.
I sent you guys a
We
picture
see
of
it.
Miles since you guys were talking about Miles.
Oh, gotcha.
I
Okay.
want to show that.
That's not what you're drawing right now, but that's when
So that's what you drew. That's not what you're drawing.
Yeah, what I'm working. I can tell you what I'm working on now.
Okay.
I'm working on a Batman title right now,
Okay.
and that's all I can say. Can't say much more.
Man.
What team? How much was the budget? What are the major people who were involved in it?
I can't say more than that. I can't.
Man, with that said,
more than enough.
with that said, we're going to conclude our podcast. We're going to give a shout out to Digital Click for doing our artwork for us.
No doubt.
Thank you all for coming to our inaugural podcast on the relaunch of the TechN00bians podcast. We're going to probably put the backlog up soon in audio format, of course. Thanks Shanae and Cherie, Travis, and Ryan for coming in. If you all want your ass kicked while you're doing art, you should follow Comic Pro Boot Camp.
I can give them a little bit more about that. Comic Pro Boot Camp. Since we were talking about teaching, it's basically a workshop that I created with a couple other professional industry guys. And what we do is we teach specifically comic book art, but it's and the reason why we teach that is because it's comic book art is almost like the leaping platform into other elements, other parts of the industry. You can use comics to get into video games. You can use comics to get into movies. You can get comics to get into toys. You can get comics to get into to TV shows. So we actually teach it on that specific level. And what we do is we gather people who find who have the motive and the intentions to actually do something with their artwork, who want to improve their art skills, and we get them all together in one forum, and we teach as a class, and we have review classes, and this is all live. This is all in person, so this is nothing. But since we're in the pandemic now, we do everything on Zoom. But when the pandemic wasn't on, we literally had classes inside of a room where everybody met up together, and we had students from all around the world that flew in and would fly in, and they would take our classes. And this is something we've been teaching for about 2.5 years now. We've been doing this, and it's an accumulation of about 135 years of knowledge that we pound into the students. And the class isn't just one time; it actually lasts a good long time. So if you guys want to look more into it, just go ahead and just Google Comic Pro Bootcamp, or just go straight to the website, comicprobootcamp.com.
Yeah, definitely. So complete the whole thing. We're also giving out a PC, streaming and gaming PC, in honor of the launch of the network. Jeremy Germ 33 came through and said, hey, he loved Pangeekery, the podcast, and he's like, I'm going to brand it Pangeekery, and we're going to give it out for the network, the launch of the network. So if you haven't registered and signed up and followed us, please do so. If you have Amazon Prime, if you haven't subscribed to a network, subscribe to us. It helps us out a lot. Follow us and follow all our socials. You can look up Geekish Network everywhere and you'll find us, the Geekish Network or Geekish Network. We're on all social media, and we're here for you every week as TechN00bians to talk about game development from a very Black perspective. All right. With that said, peace.
Because I'm blackity black and I'm black, y'all.
And he's back.